На Чернобыльской атомной электростанции произошла авария. Поврежден один из атомных реакторов. Принимаются меры по ликвидации последствий аварии. Пострадавшим оказывается помощь. Создана правительственная.
Hello everyone, long time no see, P Phoenix here. Thank you for tuning in to the channel again. Today we're taking a look at something that I've been promising for the last two videos I did, and we're going to take a look at some products from Patrick Miniatures. Just to give you guys some context, Patrick is a German-based seller of 3D printed miniatures. So first of all, some very simple packaging. It's nothing to be super excited about, but the important thing is that it's very well packed. Singles come like this, and the squads, let's call them that, usually come like this. So they come in these baggies and wrapped in some paper. Now guys, a quick disclaimer here. Just like with the Grig videos, this is not sponsored by Patrick in any way, shape or form. Everything that you guys are going to see here I bought with my own money. I am again just doing this because I think these are cool products and I want to showcase them because there are very few videos showing Patrick's work on YouTube, so I figured this would be a nice opportunity. So another thing that I wanted just to make sure you guys know is that I got this guy and this gal a while ago. They're still available in his web store. The only reason that I'm mentioning them particularly is that they come with FDM bases. I mean, these bases are totally usable. They look fine. They're also a very nice print. If you want to go the extra mile to send them, I think they'll work perfectly for their intended purpose. However, I am pretty sure that most, if not all, of Patrick's products now have resin bases, which is the case with some miniatures that I got a bit more recently. So just to make that clear, you will if you guys get stuff from him now, it will probably be this kind of base, which looks better and it's a bit heftier too. So with that out of the way, we have our first miniature here, which is a regular old Stalker dude. Now this is actually one of the guys that I first saw when I got into Patrick's store. I actually saw him online before. That's how I found out about the store. It was probably in an alpha / Stalker 7 Facebook group where I saw this guy and someone mentioned Patrick's store and I kind of had to get him right away. I'll put him here next to a more traditionally sized 28mm figure like this Stalker here from Grig. As you guys can see, this guy is kind of like true 28. Now I don't say that by height, I say that by proportions. As you can see, he's a lot skinnier than a more traditional looking 28mm miniature, so he looks more realistic, and even being so finely detailed, I mean, he doesn't seem fragile, you know. All the detail is incredibly crisp. Like you can pick out all the shotgun shells on his bandolier, even his fingers and the trigger guard on that super thin shotgun. You guys will see that that's a trend throughout Patrick's prints. He has a really high quality resin printer, and that really shows. Now he also does a good job at removing supports. You will still have some leftovers, you know. If you build miniatures, if you build kits, you should be used to that by now. It's no big deal really. Just with a hobby knife you'll get clear of those in no time. Up next we have this sniper chick. I actually got her because I think she's in a really cool pose. She's almost like in a hunter's pose. She comes with this that tree or branch. It's kind of sideways like that, and you put her up like this, kind of like this. And I just thought she was really cool. She has like this super giant 50 cal Barrett with a silencer on it. But actually my idea with this miniature was to convert it. She kind of looks like she's going on a safari or something, not super equipped. She has a knife there and that huge ass sniper, yes, but like, I don't know. I think she's missing some pouches, maybe a gas mask. So I thought she would be a cool base for some conversion work. Once I get to that, maybe I'll also show it off on the channel. But again, super smooth prints. You can barely make out the steps, you know, that you'll usually get with resin prints. Another very cool miniature. I should probably mention at some point that Patrick has like a printing service and a store service. Okay, so what do I mean by that is that, to my knowledge, most of, or not all of these miniatures, they were actually sculpted by AlbinoRaven and Turnbase miniatures, which is I think the case with this guy. So Patrick is like the manufacturer and the seller, but he's not the author of what you guys are seeing. Okay, if you guys want to support AlbinoRaven and Turnbase miniatures, they have their own Patreons and their own My Mini Factories. I'll link those in the description too. So without further ado, here we have this really cool gillied up sniper guy with a VSS. I found this model really interesting actually. I think this ghillie is really smartly sculpted. Like probably if you put it like this on the printer, I mean, it should print all these things perfectly, which it did. Like these are not coming loose, so they're well sculpted, they're well modeled, and they were well thought of to be sculpted in resin. You know, because I could really see these coming. Oops, sorry. These coming out a bit too thin, and once you start touching them, they just crack. You know. But that's totally not the case. This is super solid. I actually just dropped it and you guys can see it's perfectly fine. It should be super cool to paint with like all sorts of variants of green. This VSS has super nice detailing on it. That PSO scope looks amazing. I don't know if you guys can make it out. The detail in these miniatures is so fine that like you can even pick out the soles on his boots. You know, the pattern on the soles. If you guys get one, you'll see what I mean, because it's really so fine. There's like a texture to the boot, you know. Now obviously once you assemble the miniature and put it on a base, you won't see that, but just kind of a nice detail, you know. You know it's there. Let's keep going. Now, as I mentioned to you guys before, I'm pretty sure that maybe if you guys order something now, it will be even different, but as you can see, this is how I got my squads and my other miniatures. So they basically come in this bag. All the miniatures come wrapped in kitchen paper, kinda, which is strong. You know, like the miniatures feel like there's volume protecting them. You know, versus just the baggies that the older ones came in just by themselves with their base. So this tool is way more robust. It works. The miniatures came out a-okay. So this is a Stalker squad. It's kind of a must-have if you're playing Zone Alpha. Let's crack it open. Okay, so here we have the first Stalker from the Stalker squad. So I think these guys are like amazing. You could use them for a number of different factions. They're actually quite heavily geared, so they could totally be Monolith or just some very experienced veteran Stalkers. Some more guns on his backpack. A detail that I really like about these guys that kind of really make them Stalkers or artifact hunters. It's kind of this canister. You guys see that? That's like clipped to their backpack or their belts. Totally like some sort of artifact container protecting you from the radiation. So this guy's fairly standard with his trusty AK-74. The barrel is slightly droopy, nothing we can fix. Amazing detailing and modeling on those weapons. I can't believe how much detail they put into like even the AK sights. So here we have another super cool Stalker, also armed with an AK, but this guy's pretty geared. As you guys can see, he has this vest or plate carrier, and he has a gas mask on connected to his backpack. Again, some sort of artifact container there. He has one of those very classic looking Stalker suits with those corrugated shoulder and knee pads. And this guy also has a rather characteristic, even if unusual, Maska visor. They were around, let's put it like that, during the Chechnya Wars in some special operations units. I can link an Oxide video that goes pretty in-depth into Russian helmets, especially Altins, K63s, all sorts of visors. So the Maska really isn't that common, but you know, this could be something jury-rigged. It could be a steel plate or a titanium plate that these Stalkers managed to fit into their helmets. Who knows? Anyway, pretty cool sculpt. So coming right up. Oh yeah, look at this guy. This guy almost looks like he came straight out of Mad Max. Either that or he's some sort of fireman from The Division. It's pretty post-apocalyptic, like he has this spiked shoulder pad and these big old gloves and this custom-made flamethrower. Apart from that, you could totally use this guy as some sort of stalker or bandit that got himself some seriously nasty firepower. I've seen people online making some really cool work, like with this big old gas mask visor. You know, maybe do a sort of reflection from the flames. He's got all these pipes coming from his gas canister, and yeah, he's just super cool. Another nasty member of the Stalker squad. Now, no squad is complete without a sniper. VSS being the star of the show, almost as prominent as the AK, at least in the Stalker world. I doubt VSSs are that common, even in like Russian armed forces and stuff, but who cares? He has this sort of smersh or belt suspender rig, which would naturally make it easier for him to go prone. If you guys want, you could also add some foliage to this guy, maybe to his hood or something, if you wanted to make him like mesh a bit better with his environments. It's nice that we have a different pose. You'll see what I mean by that, because we have another Stalker that's in the same pose as the other one, but not this guy. Another excellent model. Okay, so this guy to me is kind of the star of this squad. He has sort of a leader or a technician. This guy has this big old coat. He has one of those super crappy GP7 gas masks, which I would not recommend anyone to use, because it will probably kill you. It will probably not do its job in the long run for anything serious, but you know, people get desperate in the zone. Having a GP7 is better than having nothing at all. Carrying a lot of bags, a lot of backpacks, also a trusty artifact canister, and I just love this guy. He looks like he walked into an anomaly field and just got face to face with some nasty mutants. You know, he has like his detector in his left hand, and he has like this thing which I love. I can't tell you guys what it is. It's just some chopped down, some machine gun, maybe a papasha or something similar. I mean, we can't really tell. It has this like oil filter suppressor on it. I love it. And again, just so you guys realize, just, you know, the detail on this thing. The muzzle of this silencer is sculpted there and is shown through the print. Actually, let me rephrase that. It's not that they have a lot of detail. It's just that the detail that they have is really fine and crisp. And I actually value that more than having a bazillion little details, which will also be kind of a nightmare to paint, honestly. Very dynamic pose, very interesting equipment. You know, it's nice to see Stalkers and other zone dwellers that aren't just like super geared up for combat. Fighting is just one part of surviving in the zone. So last, but definitely not least, we basically have the same guy, same Stalker guy, same equipment. Although this fella is carrying a big old PK machine gun. So adding some serious firepower to our Stalkers here. Other than that, the same miniature, which is a bit of a bummer. Like, you could have no gas mask or some slight variations in his sculpt, but you know, how can you go wrong with this? The PK has awesome details, like the bullet belt, the sights. Again, it's amazing that they managed to get these sights right. Yeah, Stalker squad. It's awesome. Now, as a little bonus for the Stalker squad, you get this little piece of terrain, this little radiation sign. You know, it's just a little thing, but it could make your table more interesting, more zone focused, right? This is cool. You see a bunch of these in the Chernobyl exclusion zone, where they buried stuff, where there's abandoned equipment. They have these all over, so super cool little detail there to add to your scenery. With the Stalker squad done, I'm now going to show you guys something that's a bit more modern and modular, like kind of generic. You could use this for a variety of games, Zona Alpha just being one of them. So this is the PMC VIP Escort team. Particularity that these guys have compared to the Stalker squad, for example, or the other singles, is that their heads are actually separated from their bodies, which means you can play around a little. You actually get more heads than bodies here, and that's good because these are tiny. You have, like, as you guys can also again see, the detail is really popping. So you have like regular guys with helmets, guys with glasses and like hearing protection headsets, this guy with just some shades on, guys with caps and some protection. So these guys are pros. They're gonna have just some cheap equipment. Some guys have are kind of masked, different variations of helmets and masks. So here we have our first PMC. This might be my favorite of the bunch. He's just looking really cool, walking around. He has some body armor and a vest and an AKS-74U. Absolutely ludicrous detail. Like I said, guys, you could just put about any head that you guys want in here. And as you can see, it will fit no problem perfectly. You can even have some variation in there, get him looking wherever you want to. Let me try here with another head. I don't think you guys even have to pin these. Just a little droplet of super glue and these guys are set. This one is the only one that comes with his hat attached. I suppose that this is the VIP himself. He's unarmed, carrying his suitcase. Who knows what is in here? Some money, some info. What are these guys doing in the zone? Well, maybe they're not in zone, right? You could use some of these miniatures for whatever you want. Spectre operations, near future or contemporary modern warfare game. They'd be totally suitable for that too. So this guy with a good old M4 with an Alcan Spectre, back box, vertical grip. Again, you guys pop in any of these heads straight away and bam. This guy has also a very nice sculpt. He has a good old MP5 EOTech on there. So these guys are definitely more on the tactical side, for Stalker standards at least. This is some pretty decent equipment. Here we have a guy with a shotgun, lefty. I don't know, Remington, Mossberg, with a bunch of fast pouches for shotgun shells. There, probably some demolition charges or some breaching. Pistol nicely sculpted into his plate carrier. So some close range specialist. This guy is not so much an M4. Maybe it is. Maybe it's a Car 15. I don't know. But the print came out really well. The weapon is super straight, even with that big old silencer on there. Again, you can see these supports here are super thin. You can easily remove them. At one of these heads to show you guys how this could look. They kind of have the same base body and equipment, but they all have different weapons. Some have slight nuances in equipment and what they have attached to their vests. So there's some uniformity, but they still have some leeway, as you'd expect from PMC contractors. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that I saved the best for last, but I definitely saved the biggest. This is one of the Behemoth, I think that's what they're called, Behemoth ExoSuits. So this thing is awesome. I thought since contraband is a thing and exosuits are mentioned there, they're equipment that you can actually have, I thought that this would be a really cool addition for something a bit more militarized, or at least using some really serious equipment. So this guy's carrying some sort of minigun Super awesome minigun. Honestly, I'm not sure how that handle works with all those rotating barrels there, but man, does this thing look cool. If you guys are wondering, it doesn't really make a difference between the color of the resins. Some are blue, some are pink. The one I use for some of my prints, like for this one here, is clear. Now that has some implications on the way that you set up your printers, but other than that, your prints are gonna come out fine and beautiful anyway. You can see this guy has a bunch of pistons and bolts and very, very interesting, complicated structure on his legs. Honestly, I kind of wanted this guy to be bigger, not gonna lie. Like, it totally sells that you could put a figure there. Here's this ExoSuit next to one of Greg Miniature's Stalkers. Definitely a big boy, but I don't know. I kind of wanted it to be 5% bigger, 10% bigger. If you put him on a bigger base, like a 40mm base, maybe this might be a bit too big. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe if you guys want to do some terrain modeling there, maybe throw in some spent casings from that minigun going off, this could totally sell it as a bigger model. Kind of wanted to end this video with a bang. Now there are more ExoSuit looking ExoSuits, for lack of a better term, on Patrick's website that the operator is actually showing. You can see his head and his hands, so pick your poison. Meanwhile, Patrick updates his store fairly regularly. I recently revisited it, and man, I just want to get some more stuff that he has there. He did a lot of additions to like Modern Warfare miniatures. He even added some vehicles, which I am just super excited to get. BMPs, gas trucks, BTRs, T55 or 64. He also has some pickups, some Tiger trucks. So I'll probably make another order eventually. He has a sale going on right now, end of the year sale as he's calling it, so I can definitely recommend Patrick Miniatures. Yeah, his stuff is from AlbinoRaven and from Turnbase Miniatures again, but his product is super solid. I contacted him once regarding some of his printer settings, and he was super friendly. He answered all my questions. I hope I can get some more stuff on camera to show you guys up close. If you guys want to get this stuff in other scales, he also has that option on some of his products. Like you can go for 15, 20 something, and 28 millimeters. That goes for the buildings too. He has a wide range of buildings, from World War II stuff to Soviet stuff. Just a lot of options, really. Speaking of pile of shame, kind of late, especially regarding how long ago I did my other videos, but there's progress, guys. There's some progress. I finally based and applied some primer as a zenithal prime to some of my other miniatures. I primed some of my Grig minis. So here's a Bandit and here's that Stalker that I really like. So they're ready to get a coat of paint. I'm hoping that once they're done, I can also showcase so that maybe you guys have a better idea of how some of these things look with some paint on them. 3D STLs that I found online. You can probably find them on Thingiverse. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, please go down to the comments. I just want to thank you guys for liking and subscribing the videos. I really appreciate the feedback that you guys have been giving me. I hope I can keep making this sort of content for you guys if you guys like it. Zone Alpha is still a niche game. Patrick Todorov, the creator, is now off to other games. I hope he returns to Zone Alpha. He gave us Contraband, which expanded the game, added some more rules and solo play and a bunch of other stuff. But I still hope to get some more terrain and miniatures done, so I can show it to you guys, maybe do a battle report, something along those lines. I've been wanting to make this video for a while. See you next time. Stay safe out there.